Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Some of my fondest memories as a young, insufferable little were potatoing myself on a corner of the couch in our living room, loading up on snacks and watching hours upon hours of Star Trek The Next Generation. I mean, at the time, it was the only Star Trek I knew, and it was amazing! I mean, even the bad episodes were better than 99% of the crap on TV at the time. Except that episode with Fabergé Gipspoon, that is definitely the worst one. As the years passed by and I became an older and wiser insufferable little I was finally able to get my hands on the original series on VHS. I mean, I quickly found the same adoration I have for The Next Generation in the original series. Oh my god, I gotta learn to mute my phone. Hello?
Captain.
I think you got the wrong number, pal.
Captain, can you hear me?
Uh-huh. Wrong number, pal. Goodbye. I mean, the original series is just so incredible. I loved everything about it, and it still holds up in every way, and I will continue to love it until I die, and Voyager sucks. I really need to work on my transitions. Yeah, I tried watching Deep Space Nine and Voyager and Enterprise and laughed hysterically when CBS expected me to pay $6 a month to not like Discovery. I mean, none of them were abysmal or anything. They just didn't hold a candle to the original series and Next Gen, so I just kinda ignored them. But I remember hearing the game based on Voyager, Elite Force, was actually really good. I also heard the PS2 version is awful and by far the worst way to play it and should be avoided at all costs, and so I bought the PS2 version and here it is. Wow, I really need to work on my listening skills. Published by Activision and developed by one of my favorites, Raven Software, Elite Force looked to bring Star Trek Voyager fans directly into the action. The USS Voyager is mysteriously blasted into unknown space where they find themselves surrounded by derelict ships that presumably met the same fate. Broken, beaten, and teetering on complete destruction, you and the Voyager's elite hazard team gear up to kick some serious ass. Your mission? Find a way to get back home, and while you're at it, shoot stuff in the facey bits. The story, while simple, does a great job of setting up a situation where one might find themselves shooting lots of different aliens in a short amount of time, and I was totally invested in what was happening. Despite some wooden acting and laughable animations during cutscenes, I was more interested in what was happening here than I ever was in the show.
Captain.
Oh, not you again.
This is Commander Logic 8. Sir, are you all right?
You know, for a guy named Logic, you sure have a hard time putting 2 and 2 together, pal. I said goodbye. The game itself is a first-person shooter where you'll finally get to feel what it's like to be assimilated by the Borps? Wait, are those blocky, blurry pixels of the Borg? Yeesh, this one ain't a looker. Even for back in 2000, this was subpar. Textures are blurry, character models are a mess, and their faces seem to be assembled in pieces. I would have preferred GoldenEye's square faces over whatever the heck this is. Add on top of that the frequent screen tearing, and you've got yourself a problem. Thank God they made up for it in different ways. Variety, for one. Would you get out of my way? Levels take you to a variety of ships, and I always found myself looking forward to what the game would show me next. I mean, as long as the AI doesn't stand directly in front of you! The attention to detail is impressive, especially on the Voyager itself. I mean, it is clear a lot of heart went into this, and it pays off. Little things like a crew member giving me finger guns when I bumped into him in the hallway, or conversations between other crewmen you can eavesdrop on. My favorite, though, before most missions, you have to actually attend a briefing. You have to go to the armory, pick up your weapons, and sometimes even meet team members for a drink. More than once, I was tasked with hopping into the holodeck to test out a new weapon before finally heading to the shuttle bay or transport room to begin the next mission. All of this really helps immerse you in the atmosphere of the show and the lives of the crew. I mean, this was made by people who cared. It's just a shame the tech couldn't keep up. The port to the PS2 is a severe downgrade.
Sir, Vargapian raiders are holding you in a simulation. We cannot penetrate their network. We are unable to...
Other than the poor graphics, the game suffers most in the frame rate department. Anything more than a few enemies on screen at once can cause the frame rate to plunge, often to single digits, and this isn't a rare occurrence. It happens all the time, especially during firefights, and you're in a lot of firefights. It goes without saying, but this makes the act of shooting things difficult. I would audibly sigh whenever forced to engage the enemy, knowing damn well I was now going to have to fight through a slideshow just so I can get back to exploring the cool environments. And the environments are the game's highlight, trying and miserably failing to sneak through a broken down Klingon ship being a favorite of mine. I mean, you could say you're not really doing anything interesting in these levels, you're mostly just hitting buttons and shooting things, but it manages to remain entertaining throughout, I mean, coasting on nostalgia and a great attention to detail. The game controls, well enough. I mean, the default button placements are typically terrible for a shooter from 2000, but thankfully Raven Software had the foresight to allow you to customize them any way you want. After a few minutes, you'll get it pretty close to what you'd expect from a modern game. All in all, if it wasn't for the terrible frame rate, I would say, control-wise, this would have been a decent shooter for the PlayStation 2. I mean, it's no time splitters, but it could have been competent if not for the performance. They got so much right, but they dropped the tribble where it counts. There's few things worse for a shooter than a bad frame rate. What a damn shame. Alas, don't look a dilithium crystal in the warp core. One intrusion into Cardassian space is worth 2 in the bush. Well, I really need to work on my proverbs. Thankfully, there's a PC version that I don't have and never played, but I can assure you probably almost definitely with near 100% certainty that it might play way better than the PS2 version probably. The game also came loaded with multiplayer, seeing as it was a Quake 3 Arena engine game, but since I don't give a rat's ass about competitive multiplayer, I'm not gonna bother messing with it. Bottom line, if you can get your hands on it, or are just itching for some good old late 90s Star Trekkin', then you can do far worse. Just be prepared to deal with some old school probs, and especially for the PS2 version, some nasty performance issues. Still, I don't regret spending 7 hours with the crew of the Voyager.
Sir,
Oh my god, what?
Lieutenant Commander Soup thinks she has a way to break the simulation.
What Wait, her name is Soup?
We are going to send a coagulon pulse through your communicator. This may hurt.
Look, buddy, I am not gonna
Initiate
tell you. Do not do that.
Initiate pulse. Sir, are you all right?
Commander, where the hell am I?
You vanished from the bridge during a routine anomaly scan. We believe Vargapian raiders have somehow transported you off the ship and into a ransom simulator.
Simulation? Why do you look like a puppet?
The Vargapian defenses must be attempting to scramble my signal.
They have me reviewing old 21st century video games, Commander. It's awful. You have got to get me out of here.
We can't, sir.
What do you mean you can't?
If we attempt to pull you out without the proper code, the simulation will terminate you.
So pay the ransom.
We vaporized them, sir.
You vaporized them?
Before we knew what was happening, we vaporized them. And the only known key to safely beam you out has been destroyed.
So I'm stuck here. Forced to review old 21st century video games. Forever?
For now, it looks that way, sir.
Commander,
Sir,
fire on my position.
I can't do that, sir.
I said fire on my position.
I can't do that, sir.
Knock knock.
Who is there?
A direct order.
A direct order who?
A direct order to fire on my position.
I can't do that, sir.
F*** you, Logic 8.
Initiate pulse.
Wait.